Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another tutorial. It's me, IJ, and I'm back with a tutorial. If today is your first time of stopping by, you are welcome on my channel. My old and new subscribers, you guys are amazing. Thanks for your support. Today's tutorial is to show to you guys how I achieve this blouse that is on the screen. It is an alternate blouse with collar. It is a bustier blouse also, a princess bustier blouse, but it is an alternate with collar and pleated peplum. It's easy to achieve, so I want us to DIY this blouse. So now guys, this is our pattern. This is our basic pattern. If you have not known how to draft a basic pattern, please check out my videos. You will see it. I've made some videos on how to draft a basic bodice pattern. It's easy. So now this is our shoulder length. This here is our starting point, the shoulder, and this is the chest line, and this is the bust point, the under bust, the waist, and the allowance. Allowance is 5 inches. So now we are going to insert our measurement on how to achieve this halter neck bustier blouse. So now the depth of the neckline I'm using is 3 inches. That is the depth, and the width of the neckline is also 3 inches. So I've now marked my 3 inches. And remember, the measurement we are using, my shoulder is 8 inches. So now it is, here is 8 inches. From here to here is 8 inches. And I came down by 1 inch, which is the shoulder slope. I mark it here. And from here, I measured my 7.5 inch, which is my shoulder measurement. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. This is my shoulder measurement, which is the armhole line. So I have now drawn it, and I came in, I divide it in 2 to get my half, and the half is 3.75, and I came in by ½ inch, which I now curve it as the armhole. So now we are going to now alter this curving because it's an halter neck. The blouse we are making is an halter neck bustier blouse. The main purpose of this tutorial is for you to know how to draft an alternate bustier pattern that you can use it to achieve whatever you like to achieve. I use mine to achieve a pleated peplum. The front part is 1 layer, and the back part of my peplum is double layer. You will see it. So now to achieve this curve from this 3 inches, now this is our armhole curve. We are going to alter it from this 3 inches, which is the width of the neckline. I'm going to connect it to this point of the armhole. So I'll take my ruler to connect it. You see it? I've now connected it. So this is going to go away. Remember, we are making a halter neck with collar. That is what we are making. Some call it a turtleneck. So that is what we are making today. So now we have now altered the armhole line. From this 3 inches of the neckline, we connected it to the armhole here. So the next thing we have to do now is to insert our measurements. The nipple to nipple I'm working with is 4 inches. On the bust point, I marked my 4 inches. This is my 4 inches. And I came down to the waist and mark also 4 inches, and I give it a straight line. So now I'm going to now determine my darts. Now guys, on this under bust, I'm going to take my darts, and what I'm using is 1 inch and quarter. That is what I'm using on both sides, 1 inch and quarter. And I'm going to bring it down to the waist also, 1 inch and quarter. Do you see it? I bring it down also. And on this bust point, to ease the area of the bust, I'm going to come down by ½ inch. Do you see it? I'm going to come down by ½ inch. So now I'm going to connect it. So from this ½ inch, I'll connect to the under bust, and from the under bust, I'll connect to the other side, and I'll come down to the waist. Remember, it is a bustier alternate blouse that we are making. It's very easy. So now this is our dart here. And on this side, we are going to also take our darts. We are going to also, because we are making it as a princess dart bustier, so we are going to also come up. So on this line now, we are going to measure what we have from this neck, that is where we covered. We are going to measure to our bust point. I have 11 inches, and 11 inches I'm going to divide it by 2, which is 5.5. Then I add it more ½ inch, which is 6. So I'm going to come down at 6 here. So on this 6 now, I'm going to connect it to the bust point. Do you see it, guys? I've connected it to the bust point. From the 6 inches that we divide our armhole now, I connect it to the bust point. And on this bust point, I'm going to go up also by ½ inch. I'm doing this to ease the area of the bust. If it is a big bust, you can add 1 inch, but it is bust of 38 inches. So I'm adding only but ½ inch. So on these two sides, I'm going to also take my darts. So on each of the sides, I'm going to take, you can take 1 inch, you can take ½ inch, but I'm going to take 3/4 inch on each of the sides. I'm taking 3/4 inch. So I will now connect it now to the bust point. And also connect this to the bust point. Do you see it? I've connected it to the bust point from the 3/4 inch that we took from the armhole. I now connect it to the bust point. So now, guys, this is our panel. We are now drafting it. So the next thing to do now is to take our measurement. Now, guys, we are going to take our horizontal measurement. The bust we are working with is 38 divided by 4 is going to give us 9.5, and here is our 9.5. Do you see it? And remember, here something is going off. So what is going off here is ½ inch. We are going to place it back. This is our ½ inch. So on the waist, we are going to take the horizontal measurement of the waist. Remember, the waist we are working with is 34. Divided by 4 is going to give us 8.4. Remember, all these that they are going out. And on the waist, we took 2.5 inch. 2.5 inch is our dart. So we are going to replace it here. Do you see it? So we are going to replace it here. Now we are going to connect it before adding our final allowance. So this is our measurement now. Here is our measurement with the dart. Now we are going to add extra allowance to it. So now you need ½ inch to join it to the both sides, which is 1 inch, plus extra 1.5 inch again, which is 2.5 inches. So we are going to add 2.5 inches here. And also on the bust, we are going to also add 2.5 inches as our allowance to join it together, and also to join the front and back panel together. So now we also take it together. Do you see it, guys? Our halter neck bustier drafting is ready. So now we are going to measure. Remember, from this bust point now, from here, from the armhole, we are going to measure the line we have, because we are going to increase this area of the dart. We are going to measure what we have. So from this point now, from this point of the dart, we are going to measure what we have to the bust point. We have 5 inch and 2 bar. That is what we have. So now let us measure what we have at this side. What we have is 4 inches and 2 bar. That means we are going to extend this side by 1 inch. So we are going to extend it by 1 inch. Because if we don't do that, when you sew it together, it's going to be short. Do you see it? So to avoid this side being short, that is why we added 1 inch so that when you are sewing it, it's going to rhyme with this center panel. So now we are going to determine our new armhole. So here is our new armhole. Do you see it, guys? So our panel is ready. Do you see it? So the next thing now is to cut it out. Remember, we are going to cut the new armhole. So now we are going to cut on the dart area. Now guys, this is our panel to achieve our halter neck bustier blouse that you have just seen on the screen. This is how I made it. Do you see it? When you now join it, do you see it, guys? When you now join it together, do you see I placed the bust point together? So when you are sewing it, do you see exactly it will now correspond? It's not going to be short. Sometimes you can see people, they make clothes, it is short. It's because they did not take cognizance of this sides that we added 1 inch to get our new armhole. So this is our panel. So the back panel is very easy. So let us cut our back panel. I changed my beak because the other one was a little bit faint. So now this is our back panel. Remember, here is our shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches, and this here is, you are seeing, is the zip allowance. This is the zip allowance. Here is the zip allowance. So all measurement comes after the zip allowance. So now this is our shoulder measurement of 8 inches, and this is our chest line. Here is our chest line, and this is the waist with the ½ inch seam allowance. So now we have now determined our neckline, which is 3 inches the wide, and the depth is 1.5 because it's an halter neck. It's not going to be too deep at the back. So from there, we now came down 1 inch our shoulder slope, and from the 3 inches we connected it. So this is the back panel. So the nipple to nipple we are working, remember, is 4 inches, and this is our 4 inches. And on the both sides, I took ½ inch. Do you see it? This is ½ inch as my dart at the back. And on the chest line, I came down by 1 inch. Then I connected it to the ½ inch on both sides, which is our dart. Now, if you want, you can leave it in this form to just add your allowances and connect it. For instance, this is my bust measurement. Here is my bust measurement, 9.5, and the waist is 8.5. I can decide to connect it. Do you see it? I connect it in this form, which is now my measurement. Then I'll add 1 inch of the dart and the seam allowance. You can decide to do it like this. But first, let us determine the neckline, which we did on the front panel. From this 3 inches, we are going to also alter the armhole by connecting it from these 3 inches to the armhole here. So I'm going to take my ruler to connect it. So from these 3 inches, I'll connect to the armhole on the back panel. Do you see it? That is how to achieve the halter neck at the back. Do you see it? We have connected it, which is the halter neck armhole now. Now, if you want, you can decide to cut it out in this form, add your allowance, and you achieve the same blouse that you are seeing on the screen. But I did it as a princess dart back panel. That is what I did. So now let us use this to achieve our princess dart back panel. So from this point, we are going to connect it. From this chest line, we are going to connect it, but we need to determine where to connect it. So we are going to also measure our new armhole, which is 11 inches. We divide it by 2 like we did in the front, which is 5.5. Then add ½ inch, which is 6. We are going to connect it to the chest line. where we came down by 1 inch, that is where we are going to connect it. Do you see it now? We have connected it. That's the only difference. So what we have to do now is to cut it open. Remember, now we are going to add extra ½ inch to cover up this side, so that when we cut it to join it to this area, it's not going to be short. So you have to go up by ½ inch. So you extend your armhole by ½ inch up, then you create a new one like we did in the front. So from this new ½ inch, you now join it to the armhole. Do you see it? So this is what is going to be our armhole at the back. So now we are going to insert some inches. So now remember, we are going to cut it open. So we need this dart that we are going to cut out at the waist. We need to add it here, which is 1 inch, because this dart is going out. Then now you need ½ inch on both sides to sew it, which is another 1 inch, and 1½ inch as our seam allowance. And also on this chest line, you need ½ inch to join it together. You are not taking any dart out here, so you are going to now add 1 inch to join it to the two sides. Then you need another 1½ inch as your seam allowance. Do you see it? So we now connect it. Now guys, this is our back panel. Do you see it? That is the way I achieved this blouse that we are seeing on the screen. So the next thing now to do is to cut it out. Remember, if you don't want to have a princess dart at the back, you just use the normal one, but you have to change your neckline, which we did first. But I want it to be a princess dart. So now let us cut it out. So guys, do you see it? This is our back panel for the halter neck bustier blouse that we are trying to achieve. The main purpose of this tutorial is for you to know how to draft it. You can use it to make any type of cloth you want to make. You can use it to make your peplum, or you can use it to make ordinary gown or blouse. So now, do you see it? When you are joining it, because you added ½ inch, is going to also be equal. Do you see it? So now guys, this is our back panel, and on the sleeve you are seeing on the blouse, the sleeve that I made is just an exaggerated off shoulder sleeve. You can decide to do whatever sleeve you want, but if you want to achieve that sleeve, it is very easy. So for you to achieve the sleeve that you are seeing on the screen, this is the draft that I used to cut out the sleeve. I will now show to you guys how to cut out the sleeve. Just get another plain paper. Just get your plain paper. Let me get another plain paper to show to you guys how to achieve this exaggerated sleeve that you now saw on the blouse. Now guys, to achieve the sleeve, just take a plain paper. Don't fold it in this form. Don't fold it in this form. Fold it in a diagonal form. Do you see it? You just fold it in a diagonal form. Then the measurement I used, as you fold it in diagonal form, then you now measured the length that you want. My length was 9 inches. I measured 9 inches. Do you see it? I measured 9 inches, and I add ½ inch seam allowance, which is 9½, and I marked on it. Do you see it? And the opening that I wanted was 2 inches, then I marked on 2½. Do you see it? And I now draw it. That is the way I achieved this sleeve you are seeing. I also use this curve also to curve from this point to the 9½ inch. 9½ inches. Do you see it? I curve it in this form. So now I want the down to be tipped, so I have to go down to measure what I have. You can determine it by any length. You can measure 3 inches, you can measure 5. The more you go, the more it's more exaggerated. So I measured 7 inches. Do you see it? I measured 7 inches. So from this 2.5, I connected it to the 7 inches. That is how I now achieve the sleeve that you saw me putting on that top. Do you see it? So this is how I did it. Don't fold it the way that we fold. You won't get it. Just fold it in diagonal form. Then you now measure the length that you want. That is how I achieved that sleeve. So now I'm going to cut it out. So guys, this is what I cut out. Do you see it? So when you now cut it out, this is the way it's going to look, like what you are seeing on the blouse. Do you see it? So you are going to cut out this 2. So it's going to be 4. 2 on one side, 2 on the left hand, 2 on the right hand. So you are going to add gum stay to it to make it strong. You are going to add gum stay to it, the hard one, or collar stay. So you are going to add collar stay to it or hard gum stay to make it to stand. That is how I achieved that dropping sleeve or exaggerated sleeve that you now saw on the blouse. So guys, this is our draft. I'm going to use it now, cut it. So guys, this is our draft. I'm going to use it now, place on our material, cut it out. The purpose of this tutorial, like I said, is for you to draft, to know how to draft this panel, the halter neck panel, the bustier halter neck panel, so you can achieve anything. So I'm going to quickly cut it out, then join the panels together, and we'll now see the final results. Now guys, I have cut out our panels. This is the front panel and this is the back panel using the draft we have just made. And also I added interfacing, a light interfacing to it, and also added wording to the front part of it. Do you see it? This is how it's going to be. Do you see it? And also at the back panel, I added interfacing to it also. So now the next thing to do is to fix our panels together before attaching our sleeve and also joining the peplum that is going to be on this blouse. You can decide any peplum of your choice. The peplum I'm going to add, I'll show it to you guys. So I'll now add it together, join the panels together, and I'll have fixed our panels together. This is the front panel. I've turned it with the lining. Do you see how beautiful it is? And this is the back panel. I've also turned it with the lining. I've joined them together. So the next thing now is to achieve our collar. Remember, it's a turtleneck. So to achieve the collar, just fold, after joining your panels together, just fold the front panel to determine your collar. First, you measure your neckline. You measure your round neck. The circumference of your round neck, you measure it to know. Mine is 17 inches. So now I'll get a piece of paper in this form. Then I'll take my panel and I'll place it here. Do you see it? I'll place it to trace it out. So I'll use my marker. Just get a piece of paper. Just trace the neckline. This is where you are going to start working. Do you see it? Now that you have traced the neckline, you take it away. Remember, I said you have to measure your neckline. That is your round neck measurement. Mine is 17 inches. I'll divide it in 2. In 2 is going to give me 8.5. That 8.5, I'll add it extra 1.5 to make it 10. The 1.5 I added it is zip allowance and also to turn it, to close it up at the end. That is why I added 1.5 each. So the total I need is 10 inches. Remember, it's going to be on fold. So from this line that I've marked now, I'm going to extend it to 10 inches using my tape. So now I have here 4 inches. I'm going to add more 6 inches to it. So from here, I'm going to add more 6 inches. I'm going to place my tape at 10. Do you see it? I'm going to add, do you see? I'm going to draw it up until I have my 10 inches. So let me measure what I have. You follow the curve. I have 9 inches. Then I take it up the more to make it 10 inches. That's the simplest way. I need more ½ inch. Do you see it? And now I have my 10 inches. Do you see it? So this line that I now draw, remember it is a curve because you used your panel to trace it out. So here is the curve. So from here we extended it. So now determine the length of your collar. I want mine to be 1 inch. So I'm going to add 1 inch on all this. I'm going to add 1 inch plus extra 1 inch again, ½ inch to close it up at the upper side and ½ inch to attach it to the body. So I need 1 inch. So I'm going to make use of 2. When I'm cutting it out, I'm going to add it. Do you see it? Now you trace it, the 1 inch. Remember, it's 1 inch that you added. Do you see it? You have achieved your collar. So we are going to cut it out, and on our material, we are going to add 1 inch, ½ inch on the upper side and ½ inch on the downside. So now we cut it out. Now this is our collar. This is what we are going to use to cut our collar. So now let me show to you guys. I have cut it out. So this is the collar now. Do you see it? On fold. You have to do it on fold. Do you see it? Do you see it? I've taken in ½ inch here that I used to close it. Do you see it? That is the way you are going to add it, to cut it out. Do you see it? So let me show to you again. This is the one I cut out. Do you see it? You cut it out in this form. Do you see it? You're going to cut it out in double. So this is double. Then you add it gum stay. Remember, while cutting it out, that like I said to you guys, you have to add ½ inch. Do you see it? You have to add ½ inch. Do you see it? ½ inch on this upper side to turn it to the lining, and ½ inch on the downside to add it to your project. So now this is it. Then you add it gum stay to make it a little bit steady. Then I now achieved this. So this is my collar. Do you see it? So this is the gum stay I added on it. And on the one that is going to be on the front, now I'm using 2 colors. The one that is going to be on the front, you fold your ½ inch. That is, you are going to use to attach it. You fold on your ½ inch. Then this is the one that is going to be on the cloth. So now, the way to attach it, you take it, you now achieve your midpoint. Cover it, fold it in 2 to achieve the midpoint. This is the midpoint. Do you see it? And here is the midpoint of the cloth I'm making. Do you see it? Here is the midpoint. So I'm going to attach it in this form. Before then, I have to also attach the back panel. So let us use pin to hold it. So I'm going to attach the back panel to it using my allowance that I left. Also attach the other side using the 1/2 inch I left. So you also use the 1/2 inch you have left for it. And remember, while closing it up, I also close the armhole because we are going to attach the sleeve. Remember the type of sleeve we are using. So you are going to close it to be neat. So now I've attached my panels. Do you see it? So I now take my collar. I'll now take my collar. That's the collar. I've achieved the midpoint. So I will take it and I'll also mark the midpoint of the blouse that I'm making. Here is also the midpoint. I'm going to mark it with chalk. So I now take my collar. I'm going to start from inside. So I'm going to start from inside to finish it on the front side. That is why I'm starting from inside. Do you see it now? So I'm going to, in this form, attach it. And also the back. I'm going to also, from here, I'll attach the back. Do you see it? From inside, I will also attach the back. From inside, I will also attach the back. Do you see it? So that's the way I'm going to do it. Also this side, I will attach it. And also at the back, I will attach this. So I will now attach the collar. When you attach it from the back, then working it out, you will now use this that you have folded to cover it up in this form. Do you see it? To cover it up in this form. So you achieve your collar. So now I'm going to attach it. Also fix the peplum that I'm working with. This is the peplum that I'm going to use to attach to it. It is a pleated peplum. So after attaching it to it, I'll show it to you guys. Now guys, I have joined our peplum. Do you see it? So beautiful. It's a pleated peplum. And this is the back. The back is 2-in-1. It's a double pleated peplum. Do you see it? And also I use these beads to beautify it. Do you see how it is? And this is the front. I also use the beads to beautify it. And the neck, that is the collar. Guys, this is the collar. I've also attached the collar. Do you see it? And I also use beads to also beautify it. And I've also fixed the sleeve. The sleeve is just an exaggerated off-shoulder sleeve. Do you see it? It's a fanciful one. I also show you guys how to achieve this sleeve. So now I'm going to put it to the mannequin for us to see how it looks. Now this is the finished look of our blouse, our halter neck bustier blouse with peplum. Do you see how beautiful it is? So simple to achieve. I also use these beads to beautify it to make it look more beautiful. It's optional. So guys, if this tutorial has been helpful to you, don't forget to like, share and comment on my videos. And if you have not subscribed, kindly support me by subscribing, view my videos. And don't forget to comment. If you have any question, feel free to leave it on the comment section. I will attend to you. I love you guys and continue to follow me on Instagram, IJ Designs, on Facebook, Iconic IJ, and also on Pinterest, IJ Designs. I'm there also. All my social media handles is active. Try to follow me and support me to grow this channel. Love you guys and see you in my next video. Bye.